Thank you, Michael, and welcome. And it's great to see you live, as I'm sure others have said and will continue to say, to this Participants Conference. The CRC is just past its halfway point. So I'd like to raise just 3 questions and talk to you about how the board and the CRC are addressing those questions. The CRC program's been going over 30 years. I've been involved with the program since its inception. And one thing we know from the 230 odd CRCs that have existed in that time is that they're all different. Obviously, they're in different domains, but they do have some common features. And one feature is that there's an evolution occurs throughout the life of the CRC, as you would expect. The first half of a CRC is characterised by the hard work to put the bid together, to form the initial partnerships, the excitement if you win the bid, the formation of new research projects, the involvement of additional funding, new students. So it's very much getting things going, and then you settle into a routine of where research is being done in different areas, and we're still in that period to some extent now, but then it changes as you get to the later years. So the 3 questions: are the directions that were set 6 to 7 years ago by the group who put together the bid, are they the right directions? The board has no problem with the strategic directions that were set. I think they were sound. They were focused. The CRC never intended to be across every aspect of soil issues. It was focused around the community that wished to use those technologies and practices. But the world has changed in 6 to 7 years. The concept of carbon in soil was really not around when the CRC was being put together. Does that influence our later years? To what extent? How does the CRC respond to those challenges? So there is a review of the strategic plan about to start, and there'll be various points at which we will seek your input into those directions. The second question: how are we travelling? Or an interesting question, and indeed, in fact, everyone may have different views. I'm sometimes, in another role I play, I'm on the board of the Great Barrier Reef Foundation, and people are forever asking me, how's the reef? It's a very difficult question. The reef is 3,000, the Great Barrier Reef is 3,000 reefs. It's the size of Italy. And you're trying to sum it up in one word, which the media do very well, good or bad. I mean, and it's the same thing with the CRC. There are different programs, different projects. So how are we travelling? In terms of the commitments we made to the Commonwealth, we have various performance indicators that we agreed with the Commonwealth that we would deliver on. I think we're doing very well. We've still got more to achieve. But that side of it, I think it's generally recognised the CRC is doing extremely well. Are we travelling in the direction that will allow us to achieve the aspirations of the group of people who put the bid together by the end of the 10 years? We think we're heading in that direction. Is it fast enough? Are we doing the right, have we got the right processes in place, the right levels of communication? So as part of that, the board and management have commissioned a review of the CRC to date, and that'll be an external review that'll be carried out by Lee Sullivan and Caroline Welsh, who will be here for this, I believe will be here for the workshop. So hopefully some of you will get a chance to provide some input into that process, particularly while you're both in the same venue. Michael, I'm sure, will touch on that to a greater extent later. And the third one is, how are we addressing the challenges that we know will occur in the second half? We know from past history that the second half of a CRC is more challenging than the first half. Why? Because although the CRC is halfway through, we have committed more than half of the resources. So the available resources from within the original pool is less than we had, than half. Therefore, there are some tougher decisions to be made. Some projects will come to an end and not be continued. Some will need additional funding. But the challenge can be met because we have created something as well in the first half. There have been outputs from research projects. So 5 years ago, when we talked to outside groups, we had a promise. We could talk about what we were going to do. Now we have some results that we can show. That certain things, and therefore the prospect of forming partnerships with groups outside the CRC is much greater. And that's been shown by other CRCs. In the second half of their life, those that have formed good internal partnerships and delivered on their research goals have been able to achieve additional funding either through the CRC itself or indeed outside the CRC. And that's the second issue. It's the partnerships that have been created in the first half. Not just the research results, but the partnerships that can be leveraged in the second part of the CRC to help achieve the goals. So there will be challenges in the second half. I can say, as I said, from having been involved in many CRCs, the spirit of collaboration in this one is excellent. And despite the fact that we haven't been able to come together like this or in smaller groups to anything like the extent we had hoped. So I look forward to your continued participation, to your continued involvement, and look forward to not just delivering to the Commonwealth what we said, we must do that, but also delivering on the aspirations of those of you who were involved at the beginning and have been involved subsequently. So I wish you well for the symposium and look forward to meeting you over the 2 days. Thank you.